Hello there, our dear esteemed viewers. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Community Show. My name is Douglas Onen. I'll be your host and moderator for tonight's conversation. Tonight, we are discussing the role of religious leaders in promoting peace, unity, and development in our community. And our key focus talking points are going to be on areas relating to hunger in Karamoja, teenage pregnancy in the country, the increase of HIV among youth, among others. And joining me to discuss this very interesting topic, I have a very interesting panel of a religious leader, a parent, and a common member of our society who is a farmer as well, Miss Lucky Ninsiima. So I'll quickly just start with Pastor Joseph Kawooma to quickly come and say hello and let the viewers get to know who he is, but also subsequently the other panelists will do the same. Then we can begin the conversation. Pastor, you're most welcome.
Thank you. Praise the Lord. We thank God for this opportunity to speak about the hunger in Karamoja and the increasing HIV in our community, in the youth. So we thank God. I know God is faithful to help us, and our community will be okay. In Jesus' name.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pastor. We're very happy to have you here and we're looking forward to having an interesting conversation with you. Ms. Lucky Ninsiima, you're most welcome. Just kindly quickly come and say hello and let the viewers get to know who exactly we are hosting today. Ms. Lucky?
Thank you so much, Drake, and thank you so much, Civic Space TV. It's a great opportunity to be joining you this afternoon on the community show. My name is Lucky Ninsiima, and I'm a farmer from Bushenyi. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucky. We're very happy to have you here and we're looking forward to having an interesting conversation with you. Mrs. Mbabazi Monicah, you're most welcome. Kindly say hello and we can begin the conversation.
Thank you so much, Drake Onen. Merry Christmas, all the viewers of Space TV. Yeah, I'm called Mbabazi Monicah, a parent, a Christian by faith. Yeah, I'm glad to be on the panel today. Thank you.
Thank you. We're very happy to have you here. So let's start with Pastor Joseph. Pastor, this year we have seen a couple of stories developing in our country. I'm going to start our focus area in Karamoja. And the conversation today is on the role of religious leaders in promoting peace, unity, and development in our communities. And the area relating to hunger in Karamoja is something that I think cuts across the country. Karamoja is not the only area or the only region in the country that has experienced hunger, though they have been the hardest hit. We have seen there have been effects to do with climate change, among others, that has affected the supply of food in terms of agriculture, but also it has one way or the other decreased on the food supply. So let us just begin the conversation. And my question to you is, how can religious leaders collaborate with local initiatives to address food insecurity in Karamoja?
Thank you so very much. As a leader or a pastor in the community, the Lord has instructed us to be heads. One, how do we support and to reduce the hunger in our communities or in Karamoja? One, we should help the community to understand or teach them to understand the climate change and how to handle the foodstuffs that we have around, and even to do more agriculture, so that we may have after because there is a method of planting, harvesting, and even keeping. The moment we see that in the Bible, there are people that were people with so hunger that was fought in Egypt, that was there for 7 years, but the way they preserved the people in the season that was the season of drought was that in the season where they were farming, the season that was good, they cultivated and even got a lot of harvest, and they kept it for the hunger that was about to come. Even here, even in Karamoja, when we begin the farming that we see the Miracle Center is doing, that they farm, there is a process of planting, harvesting, and also keeping it and giving it to the people. So if we help them have their mindset changing about working, and even in Karamoja specifically, that people will work more and harvest more, then we shall fight the hunger that is in Karamoja. So I feel we can do that, and our community will be healed from the hunger that we are seeing, that people are dying of hunger because that is the farming measurements, their farming status have been low. Change their mindset about working and farming, then we shall, Karamoja will be free from that hunger, and even we cannot say the drought will go away, because there are season of drought and the wet season. But if we can help them in the wet season to encourage people to plant more and to do agriculture more, then the hunger, when the dry season comes, people will have what to eat.
Much appreciated, Pastor. You have brought out very interesting points in this discussion, and I think it's very important that we have the mindset change and we have people come up with better, we teach people better forms of agriculture. Let's now bring in a farmer who is doing large-scale agriculture to come and give us a perspective from a farmer and how best we can have people in the Karamoja region, but also subsequently the entire country, come up with better measures of agriculture that would improve everyone's life to sort out the issue relating to food insecurity. Ms. Lucky Ninsiima, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Drake, and thank you so much, fellow panelists. Agriculture is indeed the backbone of our lives, especially in Uganda. And talking of the mindset change, I do believe that when I talk about we, I'm talking about this generation. I don't think we still think that agriculture is for the poor, or agriculture is for the villagers, agriculture is for the less educated, agriculture is for those who have nothing to do. I think that is where we go wrong. If there's someone out there that still thinks like that, that is where we go wrong. And that is where the hunger point is coming in. We all eat on a daily. Even if you're fasting, when you break that fast, you need to eat. We survive by food. And if we still think that we have to wait upon the poor or the villagers to provide that food for us, we are just in the wrong place. We are wrongly misplaced, because this planet is composed of all of us. And if we are all going to survive, we need to collectively work together and make sure we have food in our households. And before we wait for the aids, someone to bring an aid from church, someone to bring aid from abroad, someone to bring a miracle food, we need to ensure that every day we do something that will make sure we have food at home. You don't need a lot. There are a lot of agriculture practices. You can even plant in your own veranda, just outside your house. You don't need a lot of land. Even if you don't have a veranda, you can, there are many ways of farming under urban farming. So we just need to be open-minded and see, what can we do? Where can we come in? As my household, what shall we eat tomorrow? Where is it coming from? Am I looking at the supermarket to be the sole provider of food that I eat every day? Then I'm wrong. What if the next morning the supermarket is closed? Where will I get food? So each one of us has a role to play. That's what I'm saying. And we all can contribute food to feed our families, to feed the communities, to feed the nation. If the families are fed, the communities will be fed, and we won't have hunger issues. There are a lot of agriculture smart initiatives that we can take on. So we don't have to worry about whether it's a dry season or whether it is the rainy season, because you also realize that most crops don't do well when the rains are too much. And still, most crops don't do well when the sun is too much. So we need to be smart. We need to do smart agriculture. But all these things are possible and they are doable, irrespective of where you are, whether you are in the town, whether you are in the village, whether you are in Kalamoja, whether you are in Ushenyi, whether you are in Mbara, whether you are in Kabale, we can all do agriculture and we can all ensure that we have food to feed ourselves and the nation. Because if an individual is fed, the whole nation is fed. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that, Mr. Lucky. You talked about smart practices of agriculture and the fact that you see when it comes to aspect of food, we all do we all do eat food, and it's very important that we come up with smart agricultural practices that can help us be in position to combat food insecurity. Let's now pick the perspective of a parent. At the moment, we have children who are back home, and how exactly can we engage the holiday makers in a way that they can also help in to combat the aspect of hunger, but on the broader scale? How can we help communities like Karamoja, the sub-region like Karamoja, to combat aspects relating to food insecurity? Ms. Monicah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Drake. Yeah, I agree with my fellow panelists, as how we first have said, it's just about mindset. So like, I remember like when we are growing up, they use like in primary, whenever you will say like, they ask the occupation of your parents and you say, my parent is a farmer, they will say, don't write a farmer, write a peasant. So we grew up tagging all farmers as peasants, and we forgot agriculture is a backbone of everything, of economy, of peace. Because once your neighbor is hungry, you can't have peace in your home. Because if the child is crying in the neighborhood, even for you can't sleep. So I want to thank many people who are rising up to help people who are hungry. I want to first recognize Pastor Robert Kayanj of Miracle Center, who started with a hashtag of Karamoja Cry until when he supplied food and the hashtag changed to Karamoja Laughs. And recently on news, we are seeing very many families, like people are going hungry, people are sleeping hungry, more than 1,000 in northern Uganda. So, and that's how the church have to come in. That's how the church is stepping in. Although previously government have been neglecting church leaders. Because remember, if I'm like Miracle Center, if it has very many centers across the country, it can bring the reports and say this region is facing this challenge. But once you're doing the country planning, you're doing all those meetings and you're inviting NGOs, you're inviting ministers, you are neglecting church leaders, religious leaders who are in every community, and they have all the reports across the country. We are doing a very big mistake as a country. So like now the children are back home for holidays. I advise all fair parents, like even if you have a lot of food, even if it's a harvest period, because we are going towards the harvest period, others have started, just prepare little food. Don't prepare because you have a lot, then tomorrow you go hungry. No, you prepare and you preserve for future, as how Lucky have said. Then you sell the surplus. That's how it goes back to the country, our country leaders. They are neglecting some regions. So if you go to the western parts, you find like a liter is 400, a liter is 500 of milk, a liter of milk, but people are sleeping hungry. So what do we use our budget? What are we doing as a country? Where are our leaders? So that's why I'm thanking church leaders who are doing great work to see that others, at least they have got what to eat. And I call upon government to think about its citizens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It is important that every argument that I see all of you are raising, the aspect of mindset change cuts across all the arguments. And I think it's very important that we sorted out the aspect of mindset change, because everyone grew up saying that, oh, if you're a farmer, I think farming is associated a lot with illiteracy. And that point was greatly talked about by Ms. Lucky Ninsiima. But let's now take the conversation to, aside from hunger in Karamoja, right now, and we're coming towards the end of the year, but also I want us to talk about teenage pregnancy. At the helm after COVID-19, we saw a rampant increase on the levels of girls getting pregnant. I'll again start with you, Pastor Joseph. And what can religious leaders really do to engage with youth to promote awareness about consequences of early pregnancies? Because we have seen there's been rise on the levels or numbers of teenage pregnant mothers. Pastor Joseph, over to you.
Okay. We thank you. I want to about our communities, the way we handle our children, because now the children are they've been in school and now they're at home, and now this is what is happening. That if we want to prevent early pregnancies and HIV, we need to engage our children to be with us in church, and even not children to visit everywhere, to loiter everywhere, but to be where you have a close eye on them. Because why the children got early pregnancies in COVID, and in that time, it was because that people had nothing to do, they were at home, and the monitoring of children became not, it was not so efficient, and even to tell the children the truth, than hiding the truth about ABCD, because HIV, if we were to fight HIV in the youth, we need to educate them and tell them about HIV that is there, and even to teach them the fear of the Lord and how to handle themselves, even in this era where everything is digitalized, everything what you can hide from the child can get it, because internet is everywhere and every person is having other things and other computers, they can reach out anywhere. But what will save our generation is when we tell them the truth, because what we used to know when we are 25, somebody can know it when he's only 5 years, because everything is exposed. So we need to tell them the truth and even teach them the principles of the Lord, and help them to move the way God wants them to move, to handle themselves the way God wants them to handle themselves. Because there are verses in the Bible that tells us how can a young man keep his way pure, and it says it's by working upon the word of God, what God speaks about them and what God talks about them. If we tell them what God wants them to do and the fear of God is with them, then these things, early pregnancy, HIV, will not be part and parcel of them, because this, even if we hide anything, we don't need to hide anything from them. We need to tell them everything that we need to tell them and equip them with the knowledge of the word of God, and even telling them how to respect themselves and how to handle themselves when situations come. Somebody approaches you, how do you conduct yourself? How do you handle yourself? Then you shall heal our generation from HIV and early pregnancies. Thank you.
Very big thank you there, Pastor. And it's very important that we tell the young ones about the essence of loving Christ, but also knowing God in helping them abstain and keep themselves safe from the effects of early pregnancies, but also engaging in early sex before marriage. Thank you very much. Monicah, let's bring you in. You're a parent, and in this season, we all know how children at home and others are actually not being monitored. But generally, this year we have seen a spike in the teenage pregnancy levels. So the same question would then go to you: how can parents engage with their children or with the young people they have at home to promote awareness about consequences of early pregnancies, but also tell them about HIV? Monicah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, moderator. As how the man of God have said, yeah, it's true. Sex education should start as early as 3 years, because you start with some words that are not open, not direct, but that at least you'll be opening their mind. So by the time they come like the age of 8, they already know what you're talking about. Because now we see like girls are getting pregnant at a very terrible young age. Also, I call upon parents, because there's a time when we had a mentorship camp with the youth in Western Uganda, but what the students, young people were talking about their own parents. You can imagine a man impregnating his own daughter, a grandfather impregnating his own daughter, defiling your own child. So I call upon parents, those, for heaven's sake, those are your own children. What are you expecting? Like, what are you doing? So parents, it starts with us. Before we talk about church, we talk about government, we talk about schools. It starts with you, because the child is with you from day one. During the whole days, are we monitoring our children? What are they watching? What time do they come back home? Whom are they with? Do you know their friends? Those are the roles of we as parents before we blame any other person. Yeah, and I want to thank churches and regions, because they normally have youth conference and they teach all about this. They preach about them every day. Every Sunday almost, they teach about the commandments, how you're supposed to behave as a Christian. They are doing their roles. But we have like godparents, they've never talked to their children. And they just wait for you on graduation and you're like, I'm the godparent. What have you done as a godparent? What have you done as an auntie? Instead of uncles defiling their own nieces and whatever, can't you help your children to know what they are supposed to? Talk about sex education. And remember, the more we get teenage pregnancy, the more we get HIV increase, because it's the same way. They like the way a child gets pregnant is the same way he can contract HIV. So let us talk to our children. Let us look, because this is the future of this is the generation that we are killing. So we won't come back here and we say government didn't help us, they killed our children. When everyone is sick, others will be dead, others will be nothing, and you start blaming government. Also, let us do our role as parents. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's the perspective of a parent, and we surely need to engage our children. We need to talk to them and let them know the dangers of early sex as well. But let's first listen in from Ms. Lucky Ninsiima. What role can religious institutions play in providing support and education to young parents? Lucky, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much, Drake, and thank you so much, fellow panelists. The religious institutions have really done good and well in ensuring that the children are being brought up with certain values. They know what is good, what is not good. I applaud the churches and mosques and all the institutions that are doing great, making sure that the teenagers are being raised the right way. But one thing that we need to acknowledge is the fact that teenagers, young people, young adults, they are at a level whereby they even know more than their parents regarding sex. Now, of course, I know the parents have experience and know that, but the young generation know a lot about sex than the parents. But the parents now bring in the conflicting ideas whereby they want these children who are learning a lot from their peers, from the school, from the internet, from everywhere. Sex really, I don't know what happened to this generation, but sex is scattered everywhere. And children are picking it up everywhere. So the parents come in blaming the children, which cause conflict between the children and the parents. And instead of creating a harmony, a friendship whereby you can easily talk, think through with your child, building that trust right from day one. It is so easy to give birth to a child, but it's also very, very easy not to have any relationship with that child. He will be your child, she will be your daughter, he will be your son, but you find that you can't even talk at length. And what these teenagers are doing, they are finding people to talk to. They are finding people who can listen to them. They could be sugar daddies, they could be sugar mummies, they could be anything. But What is this person that is talking to your child more than you telling them? That is the point. There are increased cases whereby young girls are getting sugar daddies. Reason because they're absent fathers. Fathers are never in homes. Fathers are busy chasing the bag. Yes, you make that money, but will you be happy if your child is not in good terms with you and can't enjoy that money? But you sold this child's soul to a sugar daddy or a sugar mommy or whoever, to a sexual partner that is feeding their emotions. And at the end of the day, you lose your child to HIV, you lose your child to early pregnancies, you lose your child to early marriages. So communities and church leaders and the parents, I do really urge you and call upon you to please, beyond what you preach on the pulpit, beyond what you tell your child, the do's and don'ts, beyond paying school fees, can we please cultivate a good relationship with our children? Talk to them. Try as much as you can to be their number one best friend. Trust me, that alone will solve a lot of problems that we're having in the society. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lucky. I think a point I get that is very important tonight is parents should try as much to be friends with their children, because children are going ahead to learn things from people outside who, by the way, could possibly not have the best interest of these young people at heart. But now let's twist the conversation to increase of HIV in youth. This year, a report provided by UNAIDS showed that in a week, we register over 500 new cases of HIV/AIDS in this country. Now, that is more than the number that used to come in the earlier days. Now, let me get back to again Pastor Joseph. Pastor Joseph, kindly help us on trying to kindly help us understand what religious leaders can do to facilitate open conversations, one, about HIV/AIDS prevention within their communities, but then two, what initiatives can religious institutions undertake to promote safe practices and reduce stigma related to HIV? Pastor Joseph, you're most welcome.
On that topic about the increase and of HIV in the community is one. I think we need to do a few things that will help us. One, to come out openly, because HIV/AIDS is acquired. We need to know how HIV/AIDS is acquired. Majorly, HIV/AIDS is acquired in either two ways or three ways. One, when you have sexual intercourse with someone who is HIV/AIDS, then you can easily get HIV/AIDS. And the other things, sharing sharp objects with somebody who is HIV/AIDS, and which is also rare, that HIV/AIDS is acquired by birth. When your parents or your mother is HIV, if the person who's helping the mother to give birth is not technical, we may have also the child acquiring HIV. But in this status, we need to, as I spoke earlier, that we need to talk about the values, the good values of Christian values of a child, because as we were growing up, we had things like Grovimo that says no sex before marriage, and we encouraged people to live without having sex before marriage, which is dying out in our generation. It's not echoed so much in our generation today. And the people live also, they need to live a righteous life, because the only way, if you are safe and you're not HIV positive on birth, then we can, before having sexual intercourse with any person, we need to have checkup. We need to check, we go for testing, blood testing, so that we know that the person you are going to have or to meet is HIV negative. So we need to, as the young generation, majorly there are measures that the government is putting up, like use of condom, but that is not a Christianity, because Christians are telling us to abstain before sex, before marriage, when we don't have, we have not gone through the circles that we need to go through to get a partner. We need to abstain, but we need to talk to the generations, our generations and our youth today, that they can know that even they can abstain, because where the community we are in today, people know that somebody cannot live without sex, which is wrong. In our generations, what is happening in our generation? But if we were to move, if we were to go biblically, we need to, because we see that when Isaac grew up in the Bible, they sent Eliezer to go and get a wife for him, and they wedded, and Isaac stayed with his wife until they got sons, their children, until Rebecca. And we don't see that Isaac mingled with any person else. But in our community, which is rare, God should help us and help our community, that the sexual libido in our generation God will help us that it will go down. But because of the measures we are having, we are saying that our community is open to is open up by internet, internet and other things, that people can learn about sex in anyway. Even if you don't teach them, even if you don't talk about it, they will know about it because of their peers and the people they are associating with. So we need to, if we are to prevent HIV, we need to talk to our generation about abstinence and even the measures that we need to do, and to tell them that are around by the government, because the government is putting all that people use condoms and other things, but in as the proper way, the Christian way, we need children have to abstain before they'll have sex after marriage. When we have sex after marriage, then our generation shall be safe. But we are seeing that even now that the young children as age of 15, 8, even we see that we need to talk about it from the lower classes, P3, P2, talk about it, because you find that somebody in P2, P1 is having also a friend that says, this is my friend, I cannot live without this person. So we need to educate them as early as possible, so that they may learn even how to handle things. When somebody approaches them, how do we handle it? How does she handle it? And but as Monicah is saying, and Lucky, that we need to tell the children how to handle themselves, how to respond to the people that engage with them. And we need to monitor our children, even this season. Which person is he going out with? What are the conversations, so that we can help our children not acquire HIV, not to go to have early pregnancies because of the people they engage themselves with. So if we do that, we talk to them, give them the values, and even educate them, talk to them how to handle themselves and how to reply. Then when we give them time, because most times our parents don't have time with their children, but if we have time with our children, then things will be okay. May God bless you. Thank you.
That has been a very elaborate submission there, Pastor. And it is true that we have to tell the children about all this. We need to have honest conversations. But the aspect of abstaining is something that you greatly advocate for in the entire submission, which we greatly appreciate. And as a religious leader, we commend the works that you're doing in trying to promote abstinence, but also preaching the word of God. Let me quickly get back to Monicah, and this conversation now is going to go on the aspect of gender-based violence. being a woman and being a parent. This year we have seen, according to the reports that showed over 17,000 cases, an increase of 17,000 cases in regards to gender-based violence. So now my question to you is, how can parents, religious leaders contribute to changing societal norms that perpetuate gender-based violence? Monicah, over to you.
Thank you, Drake. Yeah, at least we have to know that in Uganda, it's becoming normal for someone to be at the age of 45, but still unemployed. And also it's abnormal to reach at the age of 45 with no kids. So people start families on zero, like they don't have income, but they have to fight nature. They have to fight, to fight, say that they have children before they reach that age of menopause and whatever. So they start the foundation of their families on poverty. And once there is poverty, it's the cause of insecurity, it's the cause of no peace at home. So very many people are fighting because they are poor. But if you're busy, you're working, you don't get that time of seeing, maybe my wife is not kneeling while serving me food, my wife is picking calls from the strangers, because you're busy at work, you reach home when you're tired, you're looking after your cows and whatever. So poverty is increasing all these challenges we are facing right now. HIV increase, teenage pregnancy, and back to domestic violence. So as the country, we go back to the country. What is it doing to help their citizens? Then also as parents, we need to learn to respect each other. We need to learn to love each other, as how the churches teach us. Like, love is the greatest commandment. Do you love your partner? Even if you don't have anything, can you share the little you have, whether it is just a cup of water and you sleep? Also, like when we started talking about gender equality, people misunderstood it. Like they think if we are men and women are supposed to be equal. So if I prepare food today, tomorrow you're supposed to prepare food. If I cook today, if I cook, you serve. Like we need to know, as how the culture teaches, that women are women, no matter what. I'm not saying that a woman should be a slave in their own home. No, but there are things that a woman can do and the man can help, but not a man can do the roles of the wife and the wife do the other way around. So we need to stick to our culture, but still we respect each other, and we consider gender-based, like in other things, but not in everything. Like you can't tell your man that, why didn't you bathe the child? No, you do it in a love way. Yes, you need help, but do it in a very love way, as how the Bible, the church is teaching you, as how the religious leaders are teaching you. So we need to respect each other, and the government should come and help its citizens before they finish themselves in their homes. Thank you so much.
Much appreciated that, Monica. We surely need to respect each other, and we need to combat the aspect of poverty that is causing a lot of violence in our communities. Let's just quickly listen in from Ms. Lucky Ninsiima, still on grounds of gender-based violence. And my question to you is, what role can religious institutions play in providing safe spaces for survivors and fostering education on respectful relationships? Lucky?
Thank you so much, Drake, and great submissions right there. The religious institutions, most people who subscribe to them, either subscribe to Pentecostal, Anglican, Catholic, Islam, Orthodox, they hold those institutions in high regard. They are like the mediators between humankind and God. So what I expect these institutions to offer back to the people that are putting their trust in them, that feel safe with them, it should go beyond the good books. The good books, I'm talking about the Quran, the Bible, the good books. It go beyond that. Most people interface with the church leaders, especially in Uganda. Most people go to church weekly. Let me put it at weekly. Those people, some go there daily, some go there twice a week. So you get to see these people more often than even the chairman LC1. You get to interact with these people more often than the police. You get to interact with these people more often than the activists. So the church leaders should look beyond the spiritual well-being of the people. They should go beyond that. Look at how people are living in their homes. How are they doing? Do they have food? Actually, most of these GBV cases are not sparked by a lot of things. They're sparked by denial for sex, no food at home, poverty. So beyond telling the people to obey the commandments of God, what have you done at the church? What initiatives are you putting in place to make sure that each family can afford food? So you know that there won't be a fight or there won't be a quarrel about the man not bringing food home or the woman not cooking the food in that case. What is the church doing to make sure that the people are living harmoniously? I know of certain church institutions that say that, well, if you're married to a drunkard, then really that man shouldn't be respected, which is wrong. I believe it's wrong because this is your husband. I don't know whether you want to respect him or not, but how are you two living together at home? Whether he's a drunkard and you are Pentecostal, whether he's a Pentecostal and you are a Catholic, how are you coming along? How is the church teaching people to live harmoniously at home? Because they interact with us more and they know our weaknesses. By the way, these church leaders know people's weaknesses more than any other person, even more than the people that gave birth to them. So how are they using that space to make sure that the people they are leading, the people they talk to every week, the people they are shepherding are living well? The church should go beyond the four walls, the four walls of the church building to the community. I believe that once the religious leaders do more than just waiting for Christians to come to church on Sunday, we will have better communities.
Okay, that has been a very interesting submission as well. As we reach towards the end of our conversation, I would really want us to have a conversation around mental health and drug abuse. Pastor, I just quickly want to get your thoughts on this one. And the question to you is, how can religious leaders create a supportive environment for those struggling with mental health issues? Pastor, over to you.
Thank you very much. How do a religious leader help people with the problems with drug abuse, mental issues? One, we need to, as a leader, as a pastor, we need to help the people that are having problems, mental problems, with counseling, and because the reason why you have, it may be spiritual or mental, or something has happened with you, or it's an addiction that people are addictive on things like alcohol, smoking, and other things. So if you are to help this person, we need to talk to them and advise them. And because if you are counseling the person about drug abuse and other things, you need to, one, be a friend to this person if he can listen to you and help them to overcome what has overcome them. Because some people are addicted to drugs, addicted to alcohol, they addicted to smoking, that they cannot live without these things. So if you have to help them, as spiritually you pray with them, physically talk to them, and talk to them and give them other ways of living, and give them the importance of living without these things. Because the moment you talk to them how bad the things are, they may not even listen to you. But you have to talk to them how good can it be when you are not drinking. How do you live without smoking? And you don't tell them how bad smoking is. I know because they are taking it, and I know that alcohol will affect my liver, will do this, smoking will affect my lungs. But how do you help them to live without them? By helping them also how to live without alcohol, how to live without taking this thing. Then you can help them as you pray for them, God to help them, give them strength to overcome to overcome that drug. And if you continually do that, then this person can change. Then this person can also be a better person. And you learn to live without alcohol, learn to live without smoking, learn to live that it will be good with this, and even to help the generation to come. Because everything that we use for quite a long time, it becomes an addiction, and it even shortens our lifespan. So if we talk to them, advise them, and pray with them, and help them to overcome, because what is alcohol and other things is now it has overcome them, and they need the help. So my God, I thank you very much that I know the community will be okay if we talk to them and help them how to live without these drugs.
Thank you very much, Pastor. As we reach towards the end of our conversation, let me just quickly get to Miss Lucky Ninsiima. Miss Lucky, as you give us your concluding remarks, so just quickly want you to hint on the aspect of mental health and drug abuse. What is your say? What recommendations would you give young people, victims and survivors of mental health, and maybe how they can come into the next year, how they can progress? And your concluding remarks. Lucky, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much. One thing that we need to be okay with is that each one of us should be okay, not feeling okay. We should be at peace, not being okay. And we shouldn't feel guilty of asking for help. And most of the time we try to pile up the emotions, and before we know it, we are mentally unstable. And mental health comes in different ways. It comes depression, then you feel the suicide thoughts. But all these things can be prevented. Just reach out. Find that person that you can talk to. It may be a friend, it may be a mentor, it may be a clinic officer. There are different outreaches, there are different clinics that give mental health guidance, and there are different NGOs that are doing the same. There are counselors almost everywhere in schools, churches, in government institutions. There are counselors, especially in hospitals. I do urge you, everyone, please, if you really feel like something is not all right, please ask for help. Please reach out. Just do it for you. You know, sometimes you have to stand up for yourself. No one will know what you're battling if you don't talk about it. But trust me, almost everyone, okay, at least someone somewhere has ever gone through what you're going through, and that person can help. Or even if they have not gone through what you're going through, they know someone who can help you in whatever situation that you're going through. So please reach out. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to reach out. Don't feel like it's a sign of weakness to say that you're not okay. Don't feel like, especially men, don't feel like it's not okay to cry. This is when you feel the emotions are really bottled up. Let them out. Cry out. Cry. You'll feel okay. It will wash your soul. And at the end of the day, you would do it for yourself. No one will do it for you. By the time someone steps in, just know it's beyond, and it will take a lot of time to recover. But if we do it, if we take precaution to look out for these small indicators, we will save a lot of mental cases every day. So as we go into the new year, let us reach out for help. Let us feel okay to ask. Let us feel okay. Ask for help. And let it be normal to know that someone is going through something, but you don't need to blame them. All they need is love and understanding. And let us do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Lucky. It's been a very wonderful parting shot. Let's listen in from Mrs. Mbabazi Monicah on your concluding remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Civic Space TV. Thank you, Drake and fellow panelists. Talking about mental health and drug abuse, very many people, they hide behind their problems. They want to pretend like everyone looks normal, everything is okay, but inside they are breathing. Even if you're a student, even if you're working, even if you're a parent, make sure you have a circle. Even in the Bible, like there is this reading in Mark chapter 2, where the man was paralyzed, but he wanted to see Jesus. But there were those four men who lifted him up. You need people who can lift you whenever you're down, because we are human beings. But for us, we just make friends who will bury us. And you hear like this: if I die, you talk on my burial. You are the one who is going to lead the speeches of friends. Can they help you when you're still living? We shouldn't plan for death. Let us plan for living. Yeah, you get friends, even if, because others, like married people, they are like, I'm scared of assuming my partner. People will know, but my partner is not good. You take photos, you put everything, glitters, and you look happy, you're smiling, but inside you're breathing. Can you open up? Because it's your life. You don't have spare. Even if you're in insurance, if you're gone, you're gone. So before you go, how are you going? That should be on our mind as we start the new year. That thing that you're seeing it as a small matter, it can end up being your death sentence. And I remember, like in our counseling, church counseling, they used to tell us that whenever you want to argue with your partner, go inside your bedroom. Yes, if you want to take those drugs, if you're taking alcohol, why do you take it in front of kids? What are you teaching them? If you're arguing, what are you teaching the kids? Can you do your stuff inside the bedroom if the kids are grown up? So we should go back to our culture as parents. We should go back to the real original setting where we used to have everything normal, where life wasn't scary, even when the young people were not scared of growing up. So also I want to thank church religious leaders, because most churches, I don't know how the Muslims are doing it, but in most churches they have counseling sessions. Like you hear that every Tuesday it's counseling. Can you use those chances? You go for counseling. If you can't afford a private counselor, if you feel your issue shouldn't be exposed, go to your church leader. So the society is trying to help us. That society is giving us all the ears, but for us, we are being the enemies of our own life. So let us be focused. Let us change our mindset. It's our life. No one is going to live that life for you. Yeah. Otherwise, thanks so much, viewers. Thanks so much, our moderator. Merry Christmas. As how they say, joy to the world. Let us create joy in our homes, create joy in our future of our children, create joy in our society. Thank you so much.
Asante sana, Monica. Merry Christmas to you too. Pastor, kindly come and give us your concluding remarks, and we can call this a show. Thank you.
Okay. We want to thank God for the opportunity to share on this platform and to speak to our community that these are my remarks, that may God help us as we are remembering the birth of Jesus Christ. As far as speaking joy, let the joy and happiness be there, and let every person that needs help find somebody where he can confide in for help, because everything that we have spoken about today, the HIV, increase of HIV, mental health, even other things that I've discussed, they have a way out if you can reach out to someone who can help you overcome. Because I know many people are hurting in their homes, but we pray that God will help us and help each and every person to be free from what habit, what addiction that has taken over their lives. And thank you to the moderator. I want to say to wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2024. May God bless you, and may God bless each and every person. In Jesus' name. Shalom.
Thank you very much, Pastor Joseph. Thank you very much, Mrs. Monicah Mbabazi. Thank you very much, Ms. Lucky Ninsiima, for taking time to discuss tonight the role of religious leaders in promoting peace, unity, and development in our community. Key talking areas have been hunger and Karamoja, mental health, teenage pregnancies, and increase in HIV, among others. And joining me, I've just mentioned the panelists. Thank you very much. To you, our viewers who have religiously followed us throughout the year, I would like to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the new year, but as well as you enjoy your Christmas, enjoy it responsibly as we celebrate the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. Otherwise, Merry Christmas from me to you. Bye-bye. See you next year.